Hello and welcome back to Vbuzz. You're still here with myself, Sharita, as well as Daryl. Now, Daryl, I don't know if you caught the interview on Vbuzz last month where we spoke to Fadli Bakhtiar from the Eco Nights as well as Rashwin from BGBG Initiative. They were talking to us about the KL Eco Film Festival. Because throughout the month of October, the 10th Kuala Lumpur Eco Film Festival has been showcasing the remarkable works of local and international filmmakers, including our next guests. Wong Xian is the filmmaker behind The Change Is Now, the documentary that follows two people who take on a zero-waste challenge, while Shanjeev Reddy is one of the folks behind The Elephant in Our Room, a short film about the conflict between the pachyderms and the orang asli. Now, we sit down with the both of them to find out more about their venture into filmmaking. Welcome to Vbuzz.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey guys. All right. So first off, congratulations for having your films showcased at the Eco Festival. But I want to ask you, Xian, first of all, why do you think it's important to have films about environmental issues showcased?
I guess environmental communication is actually is the key to mobilize the people to actually know more about the environmental issues. And apparently a lot of Malaysians are unaware of what's happening, but there's a lot of figures happening. But through films like environmental issues and stuff, it actually brings a bigger picture for them to know what's happening and what's the consequences at what they're doing. Just as simple as plastic bags, carpooling. Like that.
Simple things, of course. And Xian, how do you think films can impact people differently from other mediums?
Well, to begin with, film, I believe, a personal bias, is perhaps the best medium to tell a story because it pretty much puts you in a location that you weren't at prior or you've never been to prior. So with our story, especially because it was filmed in the remote forests of Malaysia, it's definitely not somewhere somebody would ideally want to visit. Something like that. So film helped me tell that story very efficiently.
I guess it transports us to the location on site and to witness it for ourselves firsthand, I guess through our eyes, right? Now, when did you first get into filmmaking? And is this something that you look to continue doing?
Okay, the first part. Yeah, I actually started off when I was studying 3 years ago back in Taylor's University, and I just graduated actually. So I was taking up mass communication and majoring in broadcasting itself, and I didn't actually look or actually glimpse for other subjects. Like broadcasting is the only thing that I wanted to do. So carry on, like after 3 years, I'm still pursuing like broadcasting. So that's where I started off loving and liking. That's the only thing that I know I wanted to do.
You found your passion and your true calling from there.
So until now, yeah, definitely. I'm looking into in the future doing more films or photos as well. Anything related to stills or moving images.
And Xian, what about you?
I studied a little bit of film in school, and then for many years I didn't do anything about it. And then I got employed at R.AGE at the Star, and that's been great. I pretty much went in not knowing anything at all, and I've been taught well, I've been groomed well, and so that's nearing 3 years now. So yeah.
Nice. Why do you feel like this is something that you want to keep doing?
It's very hard to convince people these days, like And as a journalist, I feel it's important to be unbiased, but at the same time, you adhere to a narrative, and that's what you're trying to tell people. And everybody, the saying, the expression, screenshot or it didn't happen, right?
Yes, exactly.
So I feel like the best way to tell somebody that something happened was to show it to them, So.
All right, that's fair enough. Now, before we speak about your films at the KLEFF, let's speak a little bit first about some of the other projects that you've worked on that you're particularly proud of. Maybe Xian, we'll start with you.
Okay, most of the projects that we have done are mostly group projects. So it will be a bit biased to say like whichever is like the best or I guess the ones that are nearly or the latest ones are pretty much fair enough to say it's okay.
It's all equally important,
yeah.
all equally good.
But if I would have to choose like one particularly, there's one that was done individually last year. Is actually regarding a film to actually. We have to shoot a film in 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Okay.
It's to actually present the essence of sound of a city.
Okay.
So it was actually carried out by Dolby.
Okay.
So we have to shoot a film, but visually as well as sound.
Okay.
But the essence has to be the sound. And it happens that I got a ticket, return ticket to LA because of that, like won a competition.
Oh,
That's actually a competition.
Congrats.
So,
and so, what about you, Shanjeev?
Okay. Likewise, I also work in a group setup.
Yeah.
But hands down, it has to be this project called Predator in my phone.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with it, but basically, we pretty much hunt down pedophiles.
Okay.
And we brought these cases, and we worked with the police from the get-go.
Okay.
They helped us with the statistics, where to look. It turns out a lot of these issues were because of social interaction via the internet.
Right.
Kids are just exposed to the internet, and they were getting hung up with these things. And then and we brought this to the government. And fast forward to today, we actually have laws to protect our children. Yeah.
That's cool because, you know, that is one topic that I think, particularly in our country, there's not much awareness and not much light shed on that, and a film about it, a project about it would be great. Now let's go back to your short films or your projects that you worked on for the KLEFF. Jin Xiang, what led you to focus on waste consumption in Changes Now?
Okay, so basically KLEFF surrounds the theme of environmental issues. We actually stumbled upon a few ideas, and we wanted to do something actually apart from like traditional film. So we did something which surrounds vlogging style. Right. It's more natural, more spontaneous, more raw. Right. So, and we actually stumbled upon a few ideas, whether we're going to do a wastage or water wastage or actually money wastage.
Okay. So how did you settle upon the idea of 2 people taking the no waste challenge?
Actually, for wastage and particularly in any rubbish or etc., it's more visible for the audience. So we're thinking to actually compare to like water or money. Right. So we actually chose that to be our theme in the whole video. So that actually settled down for us to do that.
Okay, and of course you had 2 characters in the film, Natalie and Josh. Yep. What were some of the rules that both these characters had to adhere to? Okay, so basically everything is pretty spontaneous and just visualizing and shooting whatever you're happening. But we actually set out a few rules which you have to shoot your breakfast, your lunch as well as dinner, and just add on a simple exercise or something interesting to actually spice up the whole video. Right. And from there, and we just do a post-production, and whether are we going to use it or not, just for, I wouldn't say entertainment purposes, but for just to spice up the whole video.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
And from there, actually, it came out that Natalie sets as a medium, which she will be doing a daily lifestyle naturally, and Josh, the other hand, will be saving as much wastage as possible. And you were telling me earlier that this project or this social experiment ran for a week. Yep. Was that enough time to get the results that you required? Actually, yes. Just in a period of a week, actually, we can see a fairly big comparison and results regarding Natalie. For Natalie, in just a day, the wastage is actually equals to a week what's Josh. Wow. Yeah. So what's Josh have been saving for the whole week. Okay. So fair enough, you can see in a week actually it's... There was enough time, it was sufficient. Enough time. Okay. There's a very big difference.
I think that's what's so great about, making films like this, because you really get a real message, and it's it resonates with a lot of us, because a lot of us can relate to Josh and Natalie in their lifestyle. So it kind of makes us sit back and take a look at what we're doing. Definitely. But Shan, could you explain to us a little bit more about what The Elephant in Our Room is about?
Interesting fact, we didn't pursue that story, and that's not the main reason we went there. We actually were pursuing a separate story, and this pretty much fell on our laps because my colleague and I, my senior producer, and I had to put up a couple of nights with the orang asal in the forest. And the first night I heard that, there was a little commotion in the nearby village. And the following day we found out that that particular village had elephants come rampage through it, and so we paid a visit. And that's how we found out that, turns out, translocated elephants that have been moved into state parks, become really restless very quickly. They try to find their ways home, and quick fix would be plantation or food that the orang asal have, and naturally they come and cause havoc.
Yeah, you know, the thing is, I find with films, especially with films with a strong message like this, it's sometimes tough to keep our audience engaged with us, right? You've got to have a certain element of entertainment or comedy or something of that sort to keep our audience continuously watching. How did you manage to do this with your film?
Good question, man. Again, it pretty much fell on our laps because, like I mentioned prior, a village nearby got ransacked the night before. The following day, our village got ransacked.
Oh no!
Believe you me, I removed my contact lenses and stuff, and I was pretty much settled in. You know, we were living in little huts, right?
Right.
So there's a shot of me in my singlet. It was pretty much my nightie because I was making me a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and that was I was going to have for supper. And mind you, this was around 7 because when the sun goes down, it's lights out. There's no electricity in there. And then this kid comes up to us and he's like, "You got to come check this." And then when we follow him, we see an elephant just eating, in the vicinity. And before we knew it, like our cameras are facing the elephant. And before we knew it, the elephant turned around and started charging at us.
Wow.
And yeah, I pretty much ran to save my life. And we used portions of that clip at the very beginning to keep the audience enticed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, that's so. I don't know. It's very contradictory to all these opinions I have had previously about elephants. You assume they're very peaceful, they don't look for conflict, but you know, as we can see, these certain situations have forced them to act this way. And you know, this film highlights how dangerous human-animal conflict has become. And your team did spend several days, as you mentioned, living amongst the orang asal. Was that the most dangerous situation you found yourself in, or were there other chaotic situations that came about?
You mean in my experience at RAGE or particularly then?
Whilst you were at the village.
Yeah, like ever since that happened, we were all, like we had our guards up because every person, and we kept hearing horror stories because there have been cases in the past where, because of said conflict, people have died.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I was on my toes throughout ever since that happened, but that was the closest call, pretty much, because we ran towards a river and afterwards, had the elephant approached us even more, we would have had to swim to rescue ourselves.
Let's hope that any of the future projects you are involved with doesn't have to get you involved in laying your life down the line. But, do tell us, what are you working on next?
Okay, the current project we're working on, it's ongoing. You guys have to look it up. The first episode's out. Second episode will be out in a couple of weeks. It's called Student Trafficked.
Okay.
It's basically, let me see that again, sorry. It's called Student Trafficked.
Okay.
It's how kids are recruited to study tertiary education in Malaysia. Okay. However, when they come here, they find that their colleges are ill-equipped or pretty much do not have classes whatsoever. Okay. And
that's going to be something interesting to look at, I feel. And what about you, Jin?
I guess now I just graduated actually, so pretty much I'm kind of laying back now, and I'm heading to the States next month. So hopefully I'm gonna get some nice things happening in the States, and came back. I'm planning to actually pursuing in production as well.
Awesome.
And
I hope you keep spreading these messages and creating films of this caliber. That's awesome that you guys are doing this right now.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Awesome having you here.
Thank you.
You know what? Even though, they did find themselves in some dangerous situations, it is, of course, part of good journalistic practice to kind of go the lengths to get the story so that you can kind of perpetuate the message that needs to get out there. Like, I had no idea that, elephants were being driven to act against their instincts and be so aggressive, So, we should keep having films like
I like
this.
that our new filmmakers are taking on this approach as well, or continuing this tradition. Awesome stuff. Now, next week, guys, on Vbuzz, Movember is upon us, and we do our part to contribute to men's health awareness with Dr. Agilan Arjunan, who tells us more about male infertility.
And you may have heard about both the Malaysian men and women's dodgeball teams taking home the gold at the recent World Championships. And we sit down with one of the men who coached them to their win.
As always, guys, keep writing to us at vbuzz@astro.com.my and keep up with us on our Instagram handle at AstroUlagam.
Now, before we let you go, we just want to let you know about a new game show where contestants could stand a chance to win a brand new car. But the big question is, are you smart enough? We'll find out if a group of college and university students have what it takes on a unique quiz show.
It's held on board a 15-foot truck. Contestants will try and outwit each other to win cash prizes and ultimately a Proton Iris car. Pretty awesome. Tune in to Astro Vinmin channel 231 at 8 p.m. on Sunday on the 5th of November to catch the intense intellectual competition on Smart Wheel. Now, my name is Daryl Baptist.
And I'm Sharita. Have a great night.
Have a great weekend, guys.